们觉得这个课啊，上课前跟上课后，你们用那个 ChatGPT 下prompts 有不一样？哎呦 ，very different。哦，我觉得我们的 TA 一定会听得也很高兴。你们好，为什么？来，我从这边啊，怎么样？怎么理解？哦，给 background，OK，好，这是第一个。还有没有？有什么补充？
我觉得在上这堂课之前，因为我用的 prompt 会有 background，但是 background 大部分都是当时当时就是发生的事情，就是可能我可能要，比如说我要有更多 social action 的 idea，然后我可能就会问我这个 social action 要做什么，然后有没有更多的 idea，但是在这堂课里面的话，我会把之前我们所做过的东西全部都丢给 AI，就是可能从除了我们是谁，然后我的身份，还有就是我们有调查什么事情，在那个网上查到了什么事情，然后我们讲一下，就是大家。
那你是怎么样觉得说，我就是要让他更知道更多？你一定是觉得知道更多，给你的 output 会更好吧？你应该是这样，你是怎么知道？
因为在之前，就是我们如果给更多 specific 的话，然后 AI 给我们的response 会更符合我们想要的东西，所以我就会想说，如果我们把我们全部的之前做过的东西，就是我们的想法全部都给 AI 的话，那么会就是照着我们之前做过的东西，然后去推理，
然后给出更符合你们需要的东西。OK，what else？ 还有没有？
I use background before, but after that, I started using background information so that they can give you the response that I actually want.
OK。
有点难，就是因为你要去整合所有到目前做过的内容，然后在一个地方，所以很多其实要变一下，就是我表达的部分。
OK， 所以你刚刚说给，你是把 copy and paste 丢给他，是怎么给法？我说给更多是怎么给他？
我是用描述的。
哦，你用描述的是吧 ？OK， 所以刚刚你的意思是说，你知道可能要给他200，但是如果像要这么 extensive 的，其实也觉得蛮困难的。我的意思是这样哈。OK， 好，然后好，第二个我想问的是说，因为我们这学期在做不同东西，对不对？那个 collaborative writing 就指的是整组要写一个 introductory paragraph， 还记得吗？就是然后这个主题，然后说然后接下来我们要这个主题我们要从哪个角度去切入，还记得吗？好，然后最后还要写一个 social action plan， 然后个人要有一个 individual essay。你们觉得，因为这3个东西其实目的都不一样，写作的形式也有一些不一样。你们觉得你们在用的 prompts 有不一样，因为不同的目的。有。
Just like when I write an individual essay, because individual essay I need to let the GenAI only focus on only one perspective, because I only wrote the overseas professor's perspective, so I only need to focus on one perspective. But when we do the group, maybe the social action or maybe group essay, we need to focus on multiple perspectives. So I think the prompt is different. We need to let the GenAI to know that what other thing and what other perspectives of the same topic.
Interesting. So that makes a difference, right, between what is something needed collectively, okay, and something individually, and it may get more specific. Okay. Anything else? Different ones? I
I use different prompts, but it's not like asking ChatGPT to make this or make that. But for essays, I think I usually use my prompts is I copy paste my original draft and then I ask it to spot any mistakes or like something slow that it's fixing. But for social action planning, I give it background information and ask it to provide me information instead. So it's like the other way around because I want to know what suggestions it has without an influence from my information.
Ah, I see. Okay. So could I say that because the type of assistant that you need from ChatGPT is different? Okay. So what do you need for your essay? Language?
Yeah, for an essay, I think I need more like grammar and sentence flow rather than ideas. But for social action, I need ideas and suggestions.
Yeah. But I wonder why, for us, writing an essay, we still need ideas, right? But how come when you ask ChatGPT to give you comments on your individual essay, you don't ask that much on the ideas? Why not?
Because I discovered that when using AI, if I already put in like the essays that I wrote originally, it will just alter it a little bit. It doesn't make that much of a difference. And even if it does, sometimes it shifts to another topic rather than what I really want to focus on. So I only take like very little suggestions for the idea part.
I see.
I use it more for the grammar and sentence flow.
Okay, so that's really your essay. Okay, interesting. But for the group project, you need ideas. For example, like social action, you need ideas. Okay, that's interesting. Anything anyone would like to add?
I also use the different prompts and asked for different responses when writing the individual essay. So for the individual essay, I use ChatGPT to find more material instead of academic ideas because I think that the ChatGPT will also provide like a summary of the ideas that it thinks and the ideas will align with my essay. But I am a little afraid that the ideas that provided by ChatGPT may have some mistake or something that doesn't really align with my essay. So I will ask ChatGPT also provide the material it find on the internet, and I will after reading the summary I will read the material ChatGPT provided.
To double check.
Yeah, and sometimes I have some different ideas that I will ask ChatGPT why it think these ideas will improve my essay because I have different ideas from this same material.
Oh, okay. So you are, I think you are like negotiating, having a conversation with ChatGPT. Okay. So let me summarize what you said. What you are saying is that you ask ChatGPT to provide you materials, right, for you to, I think, synthesize into your ideas, right? That you want to have more materials, and then you take a look at materials provided by ChatGPT, and that forms your ideas for your essay. But at the same time, you will also check the validity of the materials provided by ChatGPT too. All right. Anything anyone would like to add? Now, when you work on your individual essay versus group project like social action, do you feel like you talk differently?
Like what else? That is for individuals that just ask for or more on that. But for social action, I think that I would like to have more like a structure, 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 like a structure
If I also check the grammar and language use, okay, when you submit it to a social action plan, then maybe you will also check the accuracy. But I'm curious about why you would not, for example, I'm guessing because you don't want ChatGPT to give you all kinds of ideas, right, for your individual essay. That means you do have your own ideas that you want to develop. But what if like you stuck that you don't have any ideas to start with for your individual essay? Do you think that you will also ask opinions and ideas from ChatGPT to get started, right? To get started. But when you have something already, you don't want ChatGPT to alter all the content. Is that what you mean? Ah. Okay, so it's different stage, right? Like it's pre-writing stage. You probably welcome ideas, but then when you are pretty much there, okay, you want ChatGPT to only focus on your language use, not the content. Good. Now let's move on to what way did content support or fail to? Okay, yeah. Because I think our class is critical literacy in these 4 dimensions. So I think it's a bit different from most of the people will think. You know, what we use ChatGPT probably for some content or for correction grammar, but seldom do we hear people using ChatGPT for like questioning assumptions. So, do you think in what ways like prompting? Do you think it's helpful? Can the use of ChatGPT enhance your critical literacy?
I think yes. ChatGPT also has some helpful opinion. Just like when we are discussed about the multiple perspectives of our social action, and we all of us just thought about the student and teacher and school, but like ChatGPT also provide us with like a school club, idea of school club. So that's also the reason why, although we didn't apply that ideas into our essays, but that ideas help me to come up with the social activities in our social action, just like a gathering. Because I have participants in a similar activity, and the chat because of the ideas from ChatGPT that maybe we can. There has different perspective from the school club, like or AI. So I just thought that maybe we can hold like a gathering to have a space that the student to.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Wow. Good. So ChatGPT is very helpful to give you something to spark something for you. Right. All right. So now let's move on to critical literacy and multi-layered scaffolding. When we say multi-layered scaffolding, means the scaffolding from the instructor, peers, from ChatGPT. So the first one is, do you think that different scaffolds help you in different ways? First of all, do you think that different scaffolds help you question assumptions or think an issue more deeply? First of all, did I help you to think something in different ways? My part. I think I can talk about. I think my part is by giving you examples, giving you. Okay, Do you think that helps? Do you think that helps? What was helpful?
Because I think the examples give us a more clear and better understanding about the whole process that we need to conduct. Because at the first time I didn't know how to have an action from our critical writing. Just connects the writing and the taking social action together. But after the example of the category, so that I understand that we can think about how we can address the issue from our research during the writing process.
Oh, okay. So that, all right. Good. Anything I wanted to like to add? Well, and okay, were I helpful? My instruction, my scaffolding? In what ways? If you like to talk about?
Because in each class, like starting from the first class, second class actually, we were separated into groups, and then in different groups each week, right? And in each week we asked us to share our thoughts with our group members, and then I think it just makes me used to the concept that I have to think about this issue or any kind of issue in different ways. Because before, I don't think I would think about any content in different perspectives. I would just like I would just think about my initial thoughts and I will not go further into it. But then, because in every week we have to discuss it and share it with others, I think it just improves my thoughts.
I have similar experience as I did. And I think that the instruction of the critical background knowledge of the critical literacy at the beginning of the class is also very important. Because without those information, we will not know how to get into and further think about the ideas that we read from different material. So that also helps us to deeply think about the idea that we can involve in our social action.
So if I want you to describe in what ways that your instructor has been helpful for your critical literacy practice, what would you say?
I think setting examples and making it into a habit for us.
Examples and
Making it into a habit for us. Like we naturally develop that kind of habit from the examples that you provide us.
giving examples, and you said giving you background theories and research. Okay. Do you think that reading every week also helps response? Reader response? And you keep thinking about, okay, what is marginalized, what is unheard, right, from that critical literacy perspective.
And we can also keep practicing how to use those information about critical literacy. Because after we finish the critical literacy like information at the beginning, then maybe without those practice of the reading out, maybe we will forget how to use
Yeah.
those ideas.
Yeah. And that's why I kind of insist, like you guys have to read at least 1 hour a week.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing, like I think reading is one thing and writing is another. Just because if you read and you don't write, the concept of the ideas in your brain will disappear through the time. But when you read something and you write, you reflect it, you can really understand, oh, this is ideas from different people with different backgrounds. So I think if we just read and without writing, it's not really helpful. But if we read with writing, it can really have a big impact on us.
Okay. So because you know that you have to respond in the reading block, so that really gives you a different way of reading, I think, right? You look at different you enjoyed sharing ideas?
Yeah.
Because I think some people might be afraid of speaking up and sharing ideas, letting people know about what they think. But for you guys, you like to share. Well, what about in terms of conventional literacy? Remember once I asked you guys to sit with a peer and then read through your own individual essay and seek comments and feedback. If you can recall, what kind of comments and feedback did your peer give you? Can you still recall?
The suggestion that I received is that I can include more personal opinion in my writing essay because my peer thought that in my essay there are lots of excitation and the different opinion from the different material on the internet and she thought that maybe I need to evolve more my personal perspective.
So did you appreciate this comments and feedback?
Yes, because although there are lots of different perspectives on the internet, I think if I didn't include my personal perspective, maybe I will lose the track of what I want to do as a purpose. I just want to lose the ideas of my purpose if I didn't consider my personal perspective.
Okay, so you have like still idea, right, from your peer, okay, and then you appreciate this kind of input. Anyone else about like ideas from peer?
I want to say something.
Okay, it's different.
Because you asked me to sit with a peer and look at the individual essay, but for me, I think it is not helpful. Maybe for other people that think it is helpful because my peers, maybe he or she is not really outgoing and not really extrovert, so maybe she will think she thought that this is not a learning, it's a serious assignment. So they will just go through it and give me some feedback. Like she will say, oh, my individual is perfect, and I will ask her why it is perfect, but she didn't give me the explanation. So maybe for me it's not helpful. Maybe for some people it's helpful. Yeah, so this is my opinion.
Anyone receive any feedback on language use, grammar, vocabulary?
My peers gave me suggestions that I need to add more supporting example to support my argument. I've made my article into a more complete version.
Okay. So did you appreciate this comment? Okay. So I think mainly you appreciate, if you appreciate, mostly it's about ideas, right? Ideas. So far I haven't heard anything about language use and grammar. I'm guessing it's because peers think that ChatGPT will take care of that language part. So to mainly focus on ideas or perspective or more personal goals. Okay. All right. Okay. Now let's move on to. So ChatGPT so far, I think. I haven't. Okay. Now we have ChatGPT, who is very good at providing comments and feedback on my grammar, accuracy. In this way, do you think you still need comments and feedback in this aspect from your instructor?
Yeah, I think the feedbacks from the instructor and peer are also important because in my personal individual essays, then you suggest that one of my topic center could be shorter. So because ChatGPT just suggests me that I need to include all ideas I mentioned in my body content and include them into my topic sentence. But I think sometimes ChatGPT will focus on the academic form more than the reader experiences. I think that human suggestions is more related to the people who read the material. So how comfortable they read when they read the material. And AI just focus on your essay should become more academic. Just follow the form of the criteria.
I see. This is a very, very I think sensible observation. Yeah. It's about human experience, right? Human experience. That is probably something ChatGPT so far hasn't been able to do. I still have the role here. Okay, now let's move let's move on forward. Okay. I am curious about remember that Elena, although Jerry said that, Canva is not a very friendly platform, okay? But remember that we asked you guys to discuss first, and they said, we have another helpful partner, AI, and we asked for AI's suggestions. Do you usually accept or reject or revise? What do you usually do? For example, when you are generating a topic, let's go back to the time when you were generating a topic for your group project. Did you reject? Did you accept? What did you do? You usually reject? Huh? Why?
Because like I already think that like 5 commonplace or 3 commonplaces
But let's go back a little bit. Topic, because we need to have a topic first, and then we talk about multiple perspectives, right? What about because I remember I gave you a lot of time discussing in your group to decide a topic, okay? And then I give you time. Now talk to ChatGPT to give you comments, feedback on the topic. Did you accept or reject or integrate? What did you do with ChatGPT?
we mainly rejected it because I feel like the response and the topics that ChatGPT generates to us didn't really like connect with us, and we didn't really know how to dive deeper into that content because we don't feel that it's important to us.
I'm curious. I will read your screenshots. Okay. What did you ask ChatGPT for you when you need a comment and feedback on the topics? Yeah. Why didn't you ask ChatGPT to give you more topics than you can decide?
I know I feel the topics that ChatGPT generates far too complex for us to dissect for our first experience in doing this project.
Okay. Say a bit more. Why is it much more complex for the nature of this group project?
The first time when we discussed this topic, we haven't really had the specific rule for our project. So we only asked if, give us a few common places that is quite common for us to dissect for students. And then it just gives us a bunch of topics that we didn't really actually understand what the topic is about.
Okay.
So we felt that it's a bit weird, and then eventually we just started talking, and we eventually just came up about the social separation issue on ourselves because we didn't actually use the suggestions from ChatGPT.
Could I say that the response from ChatGPT is not that relevant? It's not relevant to the context, community, the issues that you are interested in. So the
because we've only described our environment. There may be some part that we overlook because something that we can only feel how they what situation they encounter. Like because we have this topic because we found that in our daily life on campus we found that some foreigners they gather only with the people from the same background, and sometimes we also have the experiences that we saw when the international asks something from a local student, and local student just ignore it for this student over. Yeah, and we've only described. I think ChatGPT, the resource that ChatGPT found on the internet is not as specific as our finding on our campus, because that's the area that we live in every day, and I think the environment we familiar with the environment rather than the change. So I think maybe ChatGPT will provide something that will be interesting, but to be the best topic of our essay, I think we still need to consider about our research around our environment.
When you were discussing a topic for your group project, and knowing, because I've already informed you that you guys are going to have social action, right, based on the topic you chose, do you think that it's a factor? Because you know that eventually you will need to turn the topic into some kind of social action. Do you think that that's also a factor, that you care so much about the relevancy of ChatGPT responses? Is that one of the reasons?
Yeah, I think it's also the reason, because we know that we need to do something as our social action, so we will reject some responses that is difficult for us to complete. The ideas from
The ideas. I see. For example, like social action plans, and then they might give you lots of ideas, but then you need to evaluate, right? So relevancy is, how relevant is one criteria, right? For you to say, oh no, I'll certainly reject. What else? What other criteria you will say, okay, yes, no?
I think for me, if I want to accept that response, it has to have like similar ideas in mind, so that I know that it's in the same context as mine. Even if I reject it, it's probably because it's too difficult or too complex.
When you say too difficult, is what in terms of understanding, or in terms of take it into action, in terms of what?
Taking it into action.
Oh, but let's go back to the topic itself. So when you were thinking about generating a topic for your group project, you were already thinking about the action attached to that topic already? Yeah?
Possible action.
So let's go back a little bit. Is it because when you were thinking about a topic, you already start thinking, so how are we going to take any kind of social action in relation to this topic? So if ChatGPT came up with something, then you start thinking about, I don't think that we will take any social action in terms of the topic. Is that so? So that's what you mean by it's too difficult, or it's too complicated. Is that what you mean?
Or the impact of the social action that we
But we all want to know that it's not just the response from the participants. We want to know that how they feel after they participate in our social action. We do not really want to just have an interview or just have a questionnaire to let the audience know. So this is why we often reject the response on ChatGPT, and this is also why we came up with a gallery, so we can really know that our participants can really not only get a better understanding of the social separation, but also know that the seriousness of the social separation. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that ChatGPT suggests you to use questionnaire to understand social separation. I'll interview, talk to people, and say, oh, understand the social separation. But then you think it's not that impactful yet.
Yeah, we think the impact is too superficial. Yeah, we need to know more about the social separation.
And then you want to bring some impact,
Yeah.
right? That the point is not about knowledge and understanding,
Yeah.
right? You want to have some social impact. Okay. I think that idea has also emphasized in the classroom, because I already told you we would like to take a look at the impact of your social action. It's not only about you what just want to do it, but also how much impact that your social action can bring to people who receive your action. So that's also my guidance, right?
Yeah.
My instruction. So,
Let me say, because I think one of the factor, the most important factor, could also be the video of Kathy during the class.
did you say something?
Because the impact of the social actions from Catherine is very obvious. It's very obvious and very meaningful. And we, after receive the suggestion from the ChatGPT, and because of that video, then we can start to think about the impact, how it will impact after we take our social action.
That's a very good insight though, because I think in the previous years, every year I talk about, like your social action has to have some impact. But each time, I was not that satisfied. Okay, I guess it's because at that time I didn't really provide them with an example, so they can really see what it means by impact. Okay, after taking the social action. Okay, so thank you very much, Catherine. Yeah. All right. Okay. Anything else you would like to add? Is this a very different kind of reading writing class that you have experienced? Could you talk about how is it different and how, did you enjoy this kind of class?
Like when I took the class, it's also related about reading and writing in my high school, and my teacher always like
You guys are classmates?
same high school. Yeah.
I was laughing.
And, our teacher didn't want us to use Gen AI. He just want to maybe write by our own ideas or write by ourselves. But I think that discouragement is a negative concept of encouragement. Yeah, because when you stop someone from doing something, it is also a way to let someone really want to do something, because this is a humanity. Yeah, this is a humanity that everyone was curious about, something that he or she not really, if someone say, oh, you can do something, the curiosity will let you to do something more, to discover more. So this is what I said. And I also appreciate this class, that we can really use the Gen AI to maybe to discover something more about different perspectives. And perhaps our group often rejected the response from the Gen AI. But this is why I say humanity, because I think that nowadays Gen AI is still lack of the humanity. You cannot really evaluate the social action, or because it cannot really to evaluate how students can really do in the social action. So maybe this is why we always rejected the responses. Yeah.
But do you think that you become more critical in terms of the use of Gen AI, Gen GPT? Could you say something about this? Because when I started like giving you this freedom, I was so concerned about maybe will you guys over rely on using it without thinking. But do you think that you become like overusing it? No.
Yeah, I think that is navigation. Like is navigate ourselves to think more deeper, or maybe think from other perspectives. So from our group, I think every members are not really overusing the Gen AI. Yeah.
Oh, you haven't talked about the experience of this course yet, right? And you think it's very, Ali, did you have this kind of course back in your company?
I don't have a specific reading and writing course, but I only have English classes because my school is Indonesian based, right? So we speak in Bahasa. So we only have regular English classes, but we have two of them, and I think that two of them doesn't really focus on critical literacy. It just focuses on like chapters like how to write an email, how to write a letter, something like that. It doesn't really make us focus on actual social political issues, mainly textbook materials.
Talk about one thing, right? If there's one takeaway from this course that it's meaningful for you, what is that one thing?
I think it's the ability to think critical, think that what we really want to learn critical literacy. Because in the classes of reading and writing from our high school, then the teacher just taught us that we need to follow the form that how we read and how we write, so that we can have like more professional study. But I think in that way, all of the writing that all of us wrote are very similar, and I think the ability I gained from this class can allows me to think wider, think wider, so so that I can come up with different ideas when I do my writing or reading.
Okay. Ariana, what about you? One takeaway from the course?
Because my high school reading and writing class in my high school, like my teacher just like when we finished the article, they didn't give me any suggestion. Yeah, they just gave it grade, and I don't know how to improve my writing in this school. So I can like use AI, and you guys give me a lot of suggestions like how to improve my writing and make my article more like more clear and and also like think critically because I read a lot of article every week.
What was your one takeaway?
I think that takeaway, maybe the critical literacy for me is the new ability. Yeah, like when we reading maybe in the high school, and I wasn't read from different perspective. I just read the article and go through the words and okay, finish a book. And Right, and also the writing. And when I wrote maybe writing or essay in my high school, I just write from my own perspectives. I just not thought about so many kind of different perspectives. And also, I think there is ability because we also need to accomplish the writing and the reading into our society. We need to bring this benefit or advantage to the society. So this is why I joined the critical competency class.
There's a question like as like, so what action will you do this like week, like after I read the one article, I will think, okay, so next maybe I need to explore more articles